Okay, hello folks. I decided to come up with an idea for a few Tokusatsu Universal Monsters stories, since, well, that blessed day we call Halloween is only 6 days away. And then, what the hell? Might as well just do some. Might as well do a Mr. Multiverse style story idea. Um, the first one is Godzilla versus Dracula. And what happens in this one is you have a bunch of Dracula worshippers have transported Dracula's body to Japan after he was killed by Van Helsing and Jonathan. Um, the problem is some some robbers steal it, and actually it's being held in a museum. That's we're gonna start over. There were some Dracula worshippers who brought Dracula's body from Transylvania to Japan, but it was uncovered before his followers could dig him up, and the body was transported to a museum in Tokyo. The problem is some robbers come into the museum and they come across his body and like, what are we gonna do with this corpse? And it turns out these robbers are from the Red Bamboo, the terrorist organization from Ibra the Sea Monster. Um, one of them actually pricks his finger on Dracula's fangs, and he regenerates. He kills one guy, and the other guy becomes his Renfield. And it says, "Okay, this is clearly an Eastern area. This is a different timeline. You're gonna take me to your masters, and we're having a little chat with them." So this guy brings them to the Red Bamboo area, and they're like, "Okay, you're." Dracula's like, "Hi, I'm Dracula. I was in life Vlad Tepish, and I wanted to. I could impale you on blunt instruments if I felt like it. So here's a little deal. You help me take over the world, and I won't kill your asses." And no, and it's not a suggestion. This is submission. You work for me, and you're going to tell me everything about this new world I've awoken to. In the midst of it, they tell him all about God. They tell him about the kaiju. They tell him about what kind of technology advancements have happened since then. And they basically just and they're like, and Dracula's interested in like, okay, what was this about these things called kaiju? What are they? Leo Red was like, they're basically giant monsters that are the equivalent of natural disasters. Dracula's like, fascinating. Tell me where they are so I can liberate them. And by liberate, he means take control of them. The only one he can't control is Godzilla, and because he just these little bats that attach themselves to the kaiju and put them under his control. Godzilla, one tries to attach to Godzilla. Godzilla's radiation got from it just Godzilla's like, okay, something's up here, and he just burns it because of the radiation coming off his body. And Dracula's like, okay, that's gonna be a problem, but never let it be said that I don't know how to get rid of problems. So Dracula sets all the kaiju that he has under his control at Godzilla and attempts to subjugate him, but because it's Godzilla, he doesn't go down without a fight. And Dracula's like, this Godzilla, he is either the biggest thorn in my side, or he's probably the best chance at victory I have over humanity. And if I can't control him, I'm gonna have to kill him. But if I can't kill him, I'm gonna have to control him. But that's easier said than done. Decisions. Always a always a problem when you come up with a decision. There's always a conundrum. So basically, he comes up with the idea of, I might as well, if I can't take Godzilla down, I might as well go on his even playing field. So he basically turns into this giant bat monster and personally confronts Godzilla. You get your typical giant monster fight in Tokyo, and eventually, but then Godzilla was like, he realizes that, and he pretty much has this, or actually, he first has his bats cover the sun first to block it out so he doesn't burn when he's fighting Godzilla. So when Godzilla fires up his atomic breath, he burns some bats, and some sunlight comes down and scorches Dracula. I was like, And Godzilla just puts two and two together, and he's like, okay, if I can't really, this guy's really kicking my ass, but the sun seems to weaken him. Light bulb. And so Godzilla uses his atomic breath to burn away enough of the bats so they can't regroup and smother the sun until Dracula's basically just burning, and then Godzilla just finishes him out with his atomic breath. So there's Godzilla versus Dracula. The next one is Kamen Rider versus the Gill Man, and the story is centers around the Kamen Rider. What was Kamen Rider's original name? And if you're wondering which Kamen Rider this is, it's Takeshi. Takeshi Hongo. It centers around some of Takeshi's friends. Actually centers around these scientists who have come across this new species of the thing is the missing link, and if you guess if it was a Gill Man, congratulations, it's the Gill Man. However, they realize that it's a little bit too powerful for them to handle, and it breaks loose and starts going on a rampage through Japan until it comes across Takeshi, and he's like, Takeshi's kind of split in how he wants to deal with this thing. And on one hand, it's a monster that is killing people left and right. On the other hand, he realizes that it's just acting like an animal that's out of its domain, and it's just scared. It's just acting like any normal animal. So he fights it for a little bit until he's like, okay, and at least because in change, he's like, those lines surprise remember, you put the thing back where you found it, or so help me. And that's what they basically do. So there's that. Next up is Gamera versus the Mummy. And basically what this is that some scientist, this takes place after the events of Gamera the Brave, so this is a sequel to that. Basically, you have these people who, you have Toto's friends, and by this is the human Toto. Wait, hold up. I gotta find out what his real name is. Kosuke. Basically, this is set a few years after the events of The Brave. So basically, Toto Gamera Jr., as I like to call him, has grown up to be full size. He looks like more like classic Gamera. One day, these people have come up with an archaeological discovery in Egypt. And are you sensing a pattern here? Because this is a pattern. Um, basically, what happens is that these scientists have brought over the sarcophagus, and if you wonder which mummy this is, it's Emotep, because that's the mummy that I think a lot of people are used to seeing. Imhotep is then wakes up in this the ancient Egyptian wing of a museum. He wakes up, he kills everyone in sight, and he just walks out. And then he realizes that one of Kosuke's friends. Oh wait, hold up, I gotta find out where he was. He comes across Mai, and he's like, he senses the soul of Anaxana Moon in her. And by the way, she's like older. She is like 20. So this takes place 20 years after Gamera the Brave. So don't worry, Kosuke and the other guys are all grown up. Kosuke still has his connection with Toto. He's like, she has the soul of Anaxana Moon in her. So he's like, okay, I just need to. The soul of my beloved is inside of her. I just need to get it out. And if you guessed he wants to get it out violently, then yeah. And if you know an Emotep, he's sympathetic and all, but he's also kind of a creep. And well, but first he realizes that Gamera is a bit of a threat because back then the Avants, that's what I'm calling the Gamera species, the Avants, were the Pharaoh had an Avant at his side to protect them from invaders, and an Avant is what led in. The Avant is what stopped Imhotep's attempted usurping of the Pharaoh back in the day. So he's like, gotta get rid of that thing first. Then my gotta grab the girl. Gotta do a little, and boom, my beloved and I are reunited. Unfortunately, and also he also summons up Amit. And yeah, and this one, Amit's a kaiju, and he uses her as means of saying, okay, here's the deal. You kill the Avant, and you can have as many hearts as you want. Osiris be damned. You lose, you can have me as much as you can have my heart. And Amit's like, whatever, okay, cool. So basically, Toto and Amit fight. I bet almost defeated is like, hey, Emotep, I kind of lost. So, remember our deal? And you're looking kind of you're looking kind of appetizing. So, your lunch, buddy. And she drags him to the underworld. Next is Ogun Bat versus the Phantom of the Opera. Sorry for that long way. I had to look up some tokusatsu characters. I didn't really write this down. Basically, Ogun Bat. Yeah, show of hands. Who expected me to use Ogun Bat? And this one, Ogun Bat is. No, actually, I want to rephrase it. This is actually Japanese Japanese character heroes. They'll use the term loosely for Godzilla versus Universal monsters. And this one is Ogun Bat versus the Phantom of the Opera. What happens in this is it actually centers around a descendant of Eric. It actually centers around the ghost of Eric, and he's basically causing trouble. Actually, Kuriyama Bat basically brings him to life, brings his spirit to life. He's like, okay, buddy, you work for me, and if you don't do what I say, you're gonna wish you're gonna wish you had a peaceful dead, because you had a peaceful death, because I'm gonna make sure your afterlife is hell. And I'm gonna need you to help me kill Ogun Bat. Basically, Eric's like has no choice because he's held by a tether, and he basically he puts Ogun Bat into a maze full of booby traps in an opera, and of course Ogun Bat finds a way to avoid them. I'm sorry this video is kind of rushed. I didn't really think about it. I just now thought about this idea. Until eventually Ogun finally confronts Eric and he's like, I don't want to fight you. You've clearly been through a lot, and I can help free you if you let me. Because it's clear to me that you've been through hell and you just want to die. So there's like, okay. So they work together, they stop Kuriyama Bat, and then Eric's finally allowed to rest in peace. The final one is Sailor Moon versus the Wolfman. And no, actually, this is not the final one. The next one is Sailor Moon versus the Wolfman. And what happens in this is it centers around a descendant of John Talbot. In this case, you have Nathan Talbot, and he's basically this is set in the first season, so Queen Beryl's still the main villain, and she basically controls Nathan and has his curse come out, and she sets him loose in the Sailor Scouts. And the one who goes after the most is, of course, Sailor Moon, because she does something. Beryl gives him the ability that any of Sailor Moon's attacks she hits him with, any attacks that Usagi hits him with, he just gets more powerful. So it looks like he's like, okay, I can't use my powers. I might as well just fight him hand to hand, but I don't want to get ripped to shreds. And in the conflict, she gets bitten. So it's up, and she gets the curse as well. So she's now a werewolf. And it's up to Rei, Ami, Makoto, and Mina to find a way to save her and to free both her and Nathan. So there's that. And finally, we have Astro Boy and Frankenstein. In this one, Astro and Dr. Elephant have, well, actually, Dr. Tenma has stumbled across Victor's old laboratory, as well as found notes on Frankenstein. And he's like, okay, so this guy, actually, no, actually, really restart this. Basically, in this one, the monster has been found, and if you're wondering which one this is, it's set up to the end of the book. So the monster's been frozen, and it's brought over to Metro City by Dr. Tenma, and the monster breaks loose, goes wreaking havoc. Astro comes in, and he's like, I don't know what to make of you. You're a monster, but at the same time, you're scared. She's like, the monster's like, and this is by the book, by the way. He's like, what? Okay, are you here to kill me or are you here to talk to me? Because if you're talking to me, good for you. But if you're here to kill me, well, let it not be said I haven't torn people to shreds before. So which is it, boy? And it's like, just deactivates all his weapons, just lands, and like, I don't want to fight, I just want to talk. And, well, he and the monster, this isn't really much a fight as much as Asteroid meets Frankenstein's monster. So he and Astro talk, and they're really similar to each other. They were both created by people who wanted to play God. With Astro Boy, it's Tenma, and with Frankenstein and with the monster, Victor. And then there's this sort of a fight. There's sort of this the building that goes up in flames, and the monster's like, and the Astro's like, "Come on, we guys help these people." And the monster just freezes and seeing the fire's like, I'll just stand right here. There's like, come on, these people are in danger. You gotta help. And I was like, but I, but the fire. I was like, could you just help me with these people? And the monster just goes, just like, okay, you went screw my fear of fire. I'm gonna help these people. I may have been born a monster, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean I have to die a monster. So he rushes in, helps Astro with the wreckage, but the buildings has suffered way too much damage, and as it comes crashing down, Astro's the monster's still holding things up so that Astro gets everyone out of there. Astro tries to go back for him. He's like, no, I honestly, I'm glad to have met you. If this is where I die, well, I'm glad I met you. I'm glad I met someone who understands where I come from. And I'm glad I was maybe created to be a monster, but I'm glad I die as a human. And he just lets the building fall on top of him. So yeah, it ends on a pretty sad note that Astro just lost a friend but it's also kind of a bittersweet note for the monster because he finally knows peace. So anyway, those are my stories for Japanese characters meeting the universal monsters. So subscribe, tell me what you think, if you liked it or hated it, and I'll see you later.